The underdog. The long shot. The nobody from nowhere, never gonna happen 100 to 1 shot. We know something about that. We're with you every step of the way.
Welcome to today's Thursday 30. I'm Matt Stradley here with the Jet John Williams, and we're joined by some Bulldog legends today. What a fun time it's going to be. Matt, Dickey, and Ahmad Thomas. Guys, thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, good to be here.
Basketball is what unites us all, and being a Bulldog as well. John, your journey after basketball at Asheville kept you with the sport, and that's the same story for Ahmad and Matt too, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, both of those guys continued to pursue the dream after they finished up collegiately, and are doing great jobs. Obviously, Matt's retired. Ahmad, he's venturing into other things, but I think he's got another year or two left in him if he wants it. That's going to be on him. But me and Matt, we play recreationally now. We play with a group called Crossfire. I usually only go if Matt goes, because then I got somebody who's going to help me out there. But he's still got the juice, man. He's still got that juice.
So Matt, you played professionally, and then you went into coaching a little bit.
Yeah. So played professionally for I guess a year or so, and just honestly could have kept playing. It wasn't one of those deals where injury took me out or something like that. It was just honestly felt the Lord calling me in a different direction, and that led me back here to my home state of Alabama, and got to coach. Yeah, I got to coach for really the last I guess it'd be 6 years. Started off coaching JV, and then was able to take a head coaching position for a few years after that. And so I love the game of basketball. I still do some training with some kids around the town here, trying to get them ready for middle and high school basketball. But I love the game of basketball, and any way I can use it, I'm going to continue to do that.
Ahmad, I became a Newcastle fan because of you. So I didn't even know Newcastle played basketball.
Oh, man, Newcastle, man. It was a learning experience coming from Asheville, having the numbers I did, translating it to the pro career. It was very shocking. The first game of the season, I got MVP, and that Monday I was headed back home. And, it was one of those things where talking to JP Prim and John as well, it's one of those things where they was just like, dude, just keep your head up. Something else is going to happen. You're fine. Don't let that get down. Fast forward, I ended up in Luxembourg. They were in third place. We ended up winning that league and got bumped up to the first division. And that's where I ended up in Canada with Steve Marcus from NC State. That was at St. Barnabas. And we were in second place, and then the season got cut short. But now we're here. Just one of those things, about the pro thing is, just staying in shape and, your mental, making sure your mental is good, because you're going to have ups and downs. You're going to be away from home, and you got to fight through that. And it's one of those things where, a lot of kids think it's just easy. And, when you're used to mom and dad and whoever's coming to games to see you, check on you, it's different once you cross that water, and, you just call on them. You got to FaceTime, or, you just got to text every day. So, it was something I had to adapt to.
John, at one point, was it after your college career that basketball, is it always still a love, or does it start to become a job at some point?
For me, honestly, the fact that I was able to actually play basketball and get paid money to do so, like, I'd play ball for free. Obviously, I'd play ball for free. And if you got the opportunity to play it and get paid to do that, that's just icing on the cake. I mean, it was never a job. If you've made it that far in the first place, you've probably enjoyed the game because of the ups and downs that come with it. You're going to lose. You're gonna lose your confidence, and to a point where you would feel like quitting. But if you love it like you really do, you're gonna find a way to persevere. For me personally, I just looked at it as, man, I get to do what I love, but also get paid to do it. What a life. And so for me, that was awesome. And so I'm sure that Ahmad and Matt can, attest the same things. And, obviously it's a different experience, and you do see the business side of it. But at the end of the day, you can get back to the simplistic point of that you are playing basketball and competing and doing what you love. No matter how much you're getting paid, you're doing it. And so at the end of the day, that's the funnest part about it.
And all three of you have lived that dream, Ahmad. The business side of basketball, a lot of people don't see. You told me that you were the MVP of the game, and then you're back stateside.
Yeah, you don't see it. You think everything's good. I mean, I'm sure Matt and John can tell you the same. Like, some days where, you have guys that's vets or have their families with them, and a rookie like me coming in might play in front of them, and they didn't sign up for that. They didn't bring their families to come there. They didn't do any of that. So, those guys have a better say-so than I do, regardless of, I just dropped 15, 20 points. It doesn't matter. They didn't sign the 2-year deal before I got here, and that wasn't what they wanted. So, when you don't never know what's going on behind the closed doors. But at the end of the day, I was always told, regardless how it goes, when you shake their hand and leave, it's always still, yes, sir, thank you, I appreciate it. Because at the end of the day, another team might come back, like Luxembourg, actually hit up Newcastle, and Newcastle, like, no, we loved them. It was just, we just had too many guys like them, and, such and such, and it worked out. The Luxembourg coach ended up calling me, bringing me there. So it was a blessing. So you never know. At the end of the day, you might feel like, you just got slapped in the mouth, and it hurts, and it feels bad. But, life's hard, and it's going to keep going, and you got to figure a way how to just beat it.
Yeah, and I agree with Ahmad completely on that, especially if you're in a second or third division overseas, where you can get sent home for anything. I got sent home for not dunking enough. Like, honestly, if you're in a basketball game, you may get presented 2 or 3 opportunities. In pros, you're not going to get many. Nobody's just going to let you dunk in their house. I mean, so I totally understand it. But at the same time, you got to make sure that you leave without burning a bridge, because another opportunity may present itself, and usually does when it comes to that line of work. And you just have to have tough skin when it comes to, playing abroad or playing pro in general, because now you're back to square one, where you're not the man, but you're working your way to be the man, so that you have the luxuries and freedoms and loyalty that you're looking for from an organization. And I'm sure Matt can attest to that as well.
Yeah, I was going to say the thing I missed most once I got to the pros was the idea of team being the primary thing, especially when you're playing in the, like I was in the G League for a little bit, and there's not much loyalty to team. I mean, it's, you are your own business. You're trying to get yours, and you're trying to get up into the pros. Now, what's funny about that is the teams that succeed in the G League are more likely to have guys who get pulled up to the NBA, get a call up. Teams that don't succeed but have a guy who's maybe dropping 20, 25 a game, he may get a call up, but usually there's just, I missed when I got to the pros. One of the things that I missed, obviously still love the game, love playing, getting paid to play, like John said, it's a dream, really. But I missed what college provided, that you played for your team, you played for your school, you played for your coach, it was a brotherhood. And I'm sure Ahmad can attest to this too. I mean, me and John are still extremely close. I mean, because of basketball. I don't have many guys I play professionally with that I'm close with at all.
And
But JP, John, Jerron, these guys that I played with in college, that's where I was able to build relationships. And we were playing together as a team. We had one goal, and that goal wasn't me. That goal was championships. That goal was winning as a team. And that changed a little bit when I got to the pros, which, it stinks, but that's the nature of the business. You're trying to move up.
not to cut you off, Matt, but it's funny you said that because some of the teams that win those Euro leagues or your division or something, they tell you, you're going to be good as your locals. And you see that, your locals are all for you, but their team as well, they're not worrying about you. And what separates a lot of those teams are that, they play together. Of course they know that, all right, these Americans are here to do certain things, but at the end of the day, like, they feel the same way you feeling, like, we're a team, we're going to do everything right. But then you have those other teams when other Americans are just like, I'm going to get mine and get out of here. And then you end up back at home before you can think about it. And then you're like, man, are we serious now? And now you're back to, oh man, they did me wrong and stuff like that. But that togetherness, like Coach Nick would say, it goes a long way. Like me and Kevin, Alec, I still talk to Andrew Rousey, Corey, Jaleel, all of them. And I mean, it's a blessing to be, what happened at UNCA and what's still later on in life.
Talk about that Bulldog brotherhood a little bit. Ahmad, you said when you're coming back from Newcastle, you called John and you got some of the other former players and to kind of talk to you and figure out where your head should be. Matt, you say that you and John are still close and you're close with a lot of your former teammates. What is it about that Bulldog bond that's so special?
I think I'm going to start first. You take a guy like Matt, him and JP, what they did before we got there. That's all we would hear about. Of course, I watched it when Syracuse robbed them, and I still, I feel your pain, man. And, guys like them, and then you have John, you have Chris, you have Elk. You have those guys, and to see what they did before we got there, and then you have a coach like BC and Coach Nick and all of those guys that's also been there. And just to hear, the bonding that they had. And what made it so great is that we had guys around us that wanted it more than anybody. So, you had a Kevin Banata who would run through the wall for me. You had a Raekwon Miller who was a walk-on, but he was feisty and you knew what you were going to get out of him. You had Sam Hughes, who was an undersized 5-man, but you knew what you were going to get. You knew day and night, and it was just our togetherness. And Coach Nick would tell you, like, he would bring out a sheet, and it would show you, it was always reflecting back to Matt and John, them team, like, what made this team so great is that, we defended, we shared the ball, the midline crosses, all of that. So, we finally bought into it. So, we didn't have a choice, because when you have a leader like Kevin, it's like, oh man, we got to listen to this guy. But that guy, he was tough. And to have somebody like that being our core guy, it was excellent. So it brought everything together.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, go ahead, John.
Well, I totally agree with Ahmad there, as far as the whole buy-in is really what started the culture. And I think it's that buy-in gradually worked its way. I would say Matt's freshman year is when we started the transition, I would say, to athletic success in the basketball team. His freshman year, Matt actually did not play much coming into the season. And actually, when Matt first came for workouts, I did not get it yet. I didn't get it. He was just he hadn't came into his own yet, so I was trying to figure it out. And
hey, so what's funny too is John actually in my official visit, he dunked on me in my official visit.
I dunked on him bad.
Banged on me. Hey, I was so confused. Like I remember coming through the lane and I didn't know John could jump like he did. Hey. I got hung up under the rim. My man was cutting through, and I kind of got hung up in help side, and all of a sudden, here comes John. Boom! And I'm like, oh my. Welcome.
Yeah,
and John actually, he was the one who was he led my visit. So
That's not how you're supposed to host, John.
Yeah, my man was hosting me and dunked on me.
Listen, he probably wouldn't have came if I'd have taken it easy on him or anything like that. Matt's a competitor, and the more and more I got to know Matt, the more and more I loved it. Like, and honestly, like I'd say Eddie and Nick, they started to really recruit some guys that had tasted blood and weren't being fed properly. And when they got to the school, I mean, they were savages. And so we needed more of those guys. That led to guys like Ahmad Thomas and Elk and JP Prim, all those guys that we got in the past that have done some amazing things for our program. And I would say that like Matt and JP were the start of that, getting some guys that were just really, really hungry. But like I said before, like Matt coming in, and he didn't get to play right away. But he got an opportunity against Radford where I figured it out for the first time. I mean, because he was able to change the game for us where we were put in a position to win. I think he had like 16, 17 points, one dribble pull-ups, getting all the way to the basket, finishing with contact, and also his leadership as a freshman. Him and JP, I mean, it was contagious. Where, you know, myself and Reed and Sean, we were all on that same page. And so that was his coming out party. And I would say from then on, like it was a culture of despising losing. We hated losing. And if we lost too much, it was going to be a conversation. But that led to those types of teams that you see now with, you know, with the Ahmads and the Alexes and you know, and you see Mike Morrell trying to carry on that torch now with, you know, a good little product coming in for the next year. So,
to that, sorry to cut you off. He said he blames us, but it's really y'all. I mean, you know, we just wanted to finish off what you guys started. So, you know, we just wanted to keep it going. And it was just one of those things, like, you know, we weren't satisfied with nothing. Like you were saying with Matt coming out party, I didn't play at all like that my freshman year either. I tore my meniscus. Coach Carey ended up putting me at the 4 once I got back. And my coming out party, I believe, was against Liberty, at Liberty. And after that, it was just like, all right, here we go. You know, and we just, like you were saying, you just had savages around you. You take I never had a complete team that stayed with me. You take our sophomore team, you know, you have Dwayne Sutton, who was at Louisville, Dylan Smith. I hope first in class actually leaves. Then you get rid of Sam Hughes, Giacomo Zilli, and then there's another loader coming in. So, you know, it was never steady, but it was just, like you're saying, those guys recruited guys that fit the system, that was gritty and nitty, and that's what made us great.
Yeah. For going back to your question, Matt, you know, and to go along with what they've said, I mean, the buy-in, like John said, was huge. I mean, when we decided, I mean, and the work ethic, that was one of the things that JP had that was extraordinary. I mean, me and him, he would drag me to the gym, I'd drag him to the gym. But that dude, I mean, he would get after it every single day. And John was the same way. And so we had a work ethic together and a competitive desire to win. Everybody has the want to win. Nobody goes into a game like, I don't care if we win or not. But there's a difference in wanting to win and being willing to do what it takes to actually win. And so we were, as a team and as a group, not only had a relationship built on the floor, but off the floor as well, to where we fought for each other. And you know, in an accolade like a, you know, player of the decade that me and Ahmad are getting to receive, which is also, I mean, to be even named amongst some of those guys is, you know, I mean, it's crazy to think that my name was put in there, but to receive something like that, to receive a player of the year, to receive Ahmad a defensive player of the year, to receive first team on our team, it literally was because the team was great. It wasn't because I averaged 30 points. I didn't average 30 points. I mean, you know, I mean, we had, if I didn't have guys like JP, if I didn't have guys like John Williams, we didn't have guys like Jeremy Atkinson and Jerron Lane. I mean, I don't get the awards that I get because if it was just me, if it relied just upon me, we wouldn't do anything. But our team was so bought in and so together and didn't care. We had 5 guys my senior year scoring in double digits, averaging double digits. And it was like me at 16, JP at 15, 14, 11, and 10. I mean, that's crazy. And when you got those type of numbers, then that's the recipe for winning, because nobody cares who gets what. I mean, nobody cares who gets all the points. Nobody cares. I mean, John, in our championship game, our senior year, I'm sure y'all talked about this. Or, I'm sorry, my junior year, John's senior year, John had 7 blocks in the game. And I mean, I think the leading scorer had 14 points. John almost had as many points, as many blocks as the leading scorer had points. But that was because, like Coach McDevitt, told y'all, defense was what wins games, and we bought into that. And when we bought in fully, I mean, it was from there. It was only success, and that's what led to it.
And I like how you said that though, Matt, because I tell anybody, I think that if it wasn't for Kevin, having a guy like Kevin, I would never been the best I've been, because he pushed me, he did what he wanted to do, and when you have guys like him that bust your tail in practice in front of people, usually have some immature guys that try to go back and curse them back out, but it was just like, he was holding me accountable, and it was. We never had to worry about Kevin showing up late, missing practices, doing stuff like that. So when you have a guy like him, it was just like, hey, I don't have no choice but to listen. And like you were saying, our sophomore year, we had guys that averaged star 5. I think Dylan Smith led us with 12, and then it went from 11, 10 to 10, and it was just like, holy crap, because you never knew what was going to happen. Like he was saying, you never knew, and we didn't care. We was just like, come on, we got to do it. And Dwayne Sutton comes championship game, I think 25 and 18 as a freshman. So we were just like, man, good God, like, let's go. And it was just one of those things, like we were just bought in.
Yeah. Yeah, you can ask John about our I mean, me and JP, we were best friends off the court, roommates. Hey, but on the court, we would get after each other.
Absolutely.
I mean, we would hate it. We would get after each other on the court, but then we leave. We'd be all good. We'd dap each other up, and But it made us better. It made all of us better, because even in pickup, our pickup games, I mean, were intense, and so it just made all of us better. And the buy-in for that was special.
So I'm going to talk to John real quick about this, because they are too busy talking about their teams, and they got player of the decade honors. So I'm not going to rely on their assessment of their own games, because they're too team oriented. John, why don't you give me an assessment of first Matt's and then Ahmad's games, and the reason that they were recognized with the all-decade honors, which, by the way, is an individual recognition. And, yeah, your team probably had something to do with it, but take a little credit.
Yeah. So, Matt, I totally get it. As far as when he first got onto the scene and his transition into dominance in the Big South, especially his senior year, he was dominant. I mean, dominant, and on a very good team. And his junior year, our team that we had, we weren't supposed to win the conference, but we did. And a lot of that was based on that huge shot that Matt Dickey hit, which changed the whole momentum of our season. I mean, we knew that we were good, and we knew that if the chips fell the right way, we could win it. But Coastal was still a tall drink of water. And after we beat them at their house with that half-court shot Matt Dickey made that made ESPN top 10, we knew that we could play with that team. And we knew that there was some doubt in their minds as well. And, what Matt brought to the table, not only on the offensive end, but on the defensive end. And our defensive mindset was, we are going to be a steel wall. I mean, in order for you to do it, you got to find some kind of crack. And everybody we took a lot of pride into making sure that our side of the wall didn't have any cracks in it. And so you just could not score on us. And I would say that Matt Dickey adapted to our system better than anybody that I've ever seen, as far as finding the right holes and gaps in order for him to get the shots that he made, but he was also super consistent in knocking down those jump shots, getting all the way to the basket, drawing fouls, manipulating defenders, and then also Matt did a really good job of manipulating refs. He knew how to play the ref game too, where he would get that call. If you didn't call it the first time, you was gonna get it the second time, because let him know, like, hey, I did everything you asked in order for you to call that. You didn't call it because of something else. And so Matt was good at all of that, where he could play where he was consistent and dominant in just about every field needed and necessary to be a tremendous basketball player and leader in the conference. And regarding Ahmad is probably one of the best defenders on ball and off ball that I've seen in the Big South. I mean, bar none. I've seen him pick up 1 through 5. That was the thing too. There was an energy about Ahmad when he played that I didn't feel uncomfortable if he was outsized. Like if he had a 6'9" guy on him, I didn't feel uncomfortable at all, like that he was about to get scored on. He was just so active. He has an unstoppable motor. He's got active hands, very, very long arms, deceptively long, where he could get deflections. But his on-ball defense, you just couldn't go by him. If you got a little step, his recovery game was legit. But then regarding off-ball, the reason why he was able to get so many steals because of his anticipation. 2 passes, 3 passes away, he understood where the ball was going before it went there, which is a knack that's uncanny in the game of basketball and you rarely see on the collegiate level, but he has that knack where he was able to shoot lanes and gaps, get steals, fast breaks, add 6 to 8 more points to his game just off of him creating turnovers. But then on the offensive end, he had game. Like, I mean, he played as a hybrid, so he'd face up and just give people work down there. His footwork was great. He could handle the ball. He could start the break. 3-point ability got really good going in his senior year, and was able to stretch defenses. Those stretch fours that had to guard him had to really come out and guard him, which made him very difficult as a player to guard on the offensive end, and you already knew what you were going to get on the defensive end. So being able to touch as many categories that the game of basketball calls for is how those guys were able to do it, and how they were able to be successful in their tenures at UNC Asheville.
In watching Ahmad play, I found that he would affect defensively easily 10 possessions, like directly affect 10 possessions a game.
Yeah.
That's an insane number. That is so crazy. Like 10, if you can just yourself affect 10 possessions a game in a game where that's a lot of the game.
Yeah,
that's
Ahmad
such an impact.
Yeah, Ahmad would make it so that, and this is all about when you get past half court, the goal is to get your offense going. And Nick had put in a zone press, a 3/4 court zone press that had Ahmad at the top of it. You could not get into your offense, and you couldn't run your plays. By the time you did cross half court, they had already run, 8 to 9 seconds off the shot clock, and then you're rushing to get into your offense. That creeps up in the back of your mind where you have to have a rush shot. So even if Ahmad didn't get a deflection or a steal, because of the pressure that he put on primary ball handlers, it made it difficult for that opposing team to actually get themselves going offensively, which would lead to low percentage shots and plays.
Yeah, that's basically what I said. We've talked a whole lot about basketball. There is a life outside of basketball. Matt, what are you up to right now? You're doing some fantastic things in Alabama.
Yeah, so I am a student pastor at First Baptist Church in Trussville, and which is right now it's a strange time to do any type of job except for a podcast, because you can do that from your home, and with all the quarantine and stuff. I mean, it's been a little strange. It's made us step up in creativity, but yeah, I mean, in college was where I was, would say in the Christian terms, I was saved, where I gave my life to Jesus and asked him to forgive me of my sins. And that's where me and John now, when we go with Crossfire Ministries, that's what we do. We get to go play basketball, and we get to use that as a platform to share the gospel, the good news around the world. We've been in the Philippines together. And so it's been a really cool opportunity in regards of using basketball in that way. And in coaching, and has been a ministry for me, but now just took a position as a student pastor, and so working here. And we just had our second son. I got 2 little boys, I got a 3-year-old who loves basketball. My man loves basketball. And people are always like, you make him play, you make him, practice. I'm like, man, I don't make him do anything. He just watches me, because I still play as much as I can around here. I said, he loves the game. It's in his genes. And then we got a 7-month-old little boy. So yeah, me and my wife will celebrate our 8-year wedding anniversary. We got married right after I graduated. And so, man, we are blessed in tremendous ways here in Alabama. And to be 8 years later, to be getting put on the all-decade team is a blast from the past almost. But I mean, it's special. I mean, it really is. It brought me back. It made me go back. I've got a bunch of our game film from when I was at UNC Asheville. It made me go back and watch some of the games and some of the games with me and John, played together in. And it brought me. Hey, you talk about being nostalgic. You go pull up some old game film and you'll get nostalgic real quick. Made me miss those guys too. Actually, me, John, Jerron, JP, and Jeremy Atkinson all. We did a Zoom call like this, and we watched the championship game from my junior year against Coastal Carolina there. So that was fun. But yeah, so I mean, everything's been really good here. The Lord has blessed me and my family tremendously, and so just thankful to get to talk to you guys today and to be able to get an award like the Big South Player of the Decade. So.
And the people who say that you make your 3-year-old play basketball have never tried to make a 3-year-old do anything. It's just not possible.
Exactly.
Can't do
Matt, it. let me just chime in a little bit beforehand. Please. I know that Dickey had said that, we go to the Philippines and we play and share the gospel, but we also get like silly competitive out there.
I believe it.
I'm talking silly competitive. It's like college comes back in a huge wave where we just start, and we used to do this back in the day too, where we would compete to guard people. Like if there's a PBA guy on the other team or somebody that's supposed to be the real deal, we would take turns on them. Let me get him now. If Matt Dickey's funny, man. He still gives refs hard times like out there. And obviously when we go abroad, we're American, so the idea is that you don't need a call. You should just be able to score anyway. So Matt Dickey's good. Let me tell you, man, he did one thing when we were down there where he was getting picked up full court by this kid he was a grown man, but he was little and very quick and athletic, and like a lot of the Filipino folks are. I mean, they're really fast, low to the ground, play fantastic defense. And this guy fouled Matt like a few times. And Matt just gave him that little chicken wing and looked at the ref, but this guy flew back. And he gave him that little chicken wing and looked at the ref and was like, hey, man, you better call it. Or I'm
he better catch another one.
You were serious, too.
I remember I was in the background, like, I was talking to the same ref, like, you better call it or my man's going to be in some trouble. You're taking for a ride out here.
Hey, John knows the fire of competition is no doubt still there.
It's still there. We're on a mission trip.
Oh yeah.
But, if Dickey throws,
we're trying to tell people about Jesus, but we're trying to tell people about Jesus, but I'm also trying to kick your tail on that basketball court. And I'll tell you that right now.
I witnessed him do that as well. The Crossfire ACC when Quinn Cook was in town. I said, "Oh, buddy." Matt must got something to let them folks know. I said, Jesus. Man, like, just to see that, I'm like, man, I don't know why he needs to be somewhere playing. Like, I'm confused right now. And, just to see that, it's just, I know I guarantee he probably could have played till he was 40, pretty sure. But, like he said, he found another calling, and which is great and what he's doing. But, yeah, to see what he did there, I was just like, dude, there's no way he should be stopping.
Hey, every once in a while, and the ACC game usually brings that out because it's very competitive. I've still got something to prove. Like, I could still be playing out here, boys. I can still go. So, no, it's fun. I love to compete. My whole life. My dad, the way he raised me, he's a competitor too, fiery competitor. And so that's how he raised me.
You look at some of them game films, you'll see your daddy out there screaming up, red-faced and flexing.
Hey,
I'm gonna have to pull up Synergy after this.
hey, I'm telling you, man, go back and watch the championship game from my senior year, and against VMI. My dad's sitting right behind the bench. He's the big dude, big strong dude. My dad and John's dad are built very similar, both big, thick, strong dudes. Hey, so you didn't want to mess with our dads on from UNC Ashland when we were there. Hey, and he's up. I mean, my dad's up pointing. He's pointing at people, pointing around. Hey, when we were at Coastal my junior year, I hit a three with like a minute to go. John, you may remember, to put us up.
Yeah.
It was almost like the sealer, like boom. It was like, hey, this game's over. Like we just sealed it up, because a 7-point lead in that game was like a 20-point lead, because it was a 2 game back and forth the whole time. And I hit a three, and the Coastal Carolina, they hated us, and they hated. And my last name's Dickey, so it's an easy target for student sections to go after. And I mean, so they were on me all game long. They were yelling at our parents before they came in the game. And my dad, he said, when I hit that three, you can see him up in the stands. He holds up the three, and he holds it up, and he's pointing at their students, and he's holding up the three-pointer, and then he grabs the champ sign, and he opens it up, and he's waving it at them. I mean, a fiery competitor, and that's where I get it, no doubt.
If there's any chance, Brian, our producer, feel free to just slide in that video to this section right here. That'd be fantastic.
I'm telling you, he would get fiery. Like that last game, both our dads is ready. All right, because it was a hostile environment. And they were sitting together, and they were just out there just staring at the crowd, like, say something about my kid, and I might just jack you up. I don't know. We'll see.
I think it's an easy transition to go from that to the formation of a new nonprofit that Ahmad's undertaking. So we're going to move on right smoothly along to Ahmad's contributions to society, which have after basketball and another one of your hobbies, which is golf. My father's a pro golfer. I'm proof that golf isn't genetic. Golf's a tough sport, but tell me more about this nonprofit that you've just formed.
So me and like a big brother, a father figure, a mentor, Thomas Carr, we sat down at his house when I got back from Canada, and we're just sitting there because you're at that time where we're in COVID, and you just don't know what's next. You don't know when this is going to end, and he has these great ideas, and he throws them at me, and I'm like, I either say, let's give it a try, or no, that's not me. And he just looked and he said, dude, let's do something to try to change what's around here in the Raleigh area right now. And I said, let's do it. What are we doing? So he said, well, we already have the guys. He said, but I'm sure we're going to get more. And I said, I'm with it. We can keep training these kids. That's what I'm thinking. And he said, let's start a mentoring program. And I said, okay, let's start it then. I'm just going with it. So fast forward a month later, he sends me a text, and it's a picture of the tax revenue saying, we're approved. Here we go. We got the 501. And I said, oh, this is serious. This is it. And it happens. So, we start this group. We started with 3, and it slowly progressed, and we end up with 6, and then it was 10, and then now we're 25. And so now we're sitting here like, oh my God, I'm here at the beach with them now. We have a tournament, and we have, some great guys. We have a guy from the Asheville area, Deontay Green. We have Terquavion Smith that's going to NC State. We have 2 young kids, Noah Ross and Jaquan Moore, who's getting recruited by Hotspur, App State, and some other guys. And, we have Jacoby Wright, who's at South Carolina. And I was just telling him, I'm like, dude, like, are we using this just to let them play basketball or what? He said, no. He said, it's bigger than that. He was like, we got to make sure these kids are way advanced of everybody else. He said, because we're at a time to where these kids need to get ready for the SAT, ACT. They need to understand, right now it's no time to like sit back and relax, play Call of Duty all day, Fortnite, run around the streets, because there's nothing to do there. He said, we got to keep these guys in the gym. We have to make sure that their families are good. And, he said, it's going to take time. He said, we have to build a family. We have to build a brotherhood. He was like, it's going to be one of those things to where later on down the road, when you're old on your rocking chair, whoever's next is saying, we'll take over. Thanks for doing this for us. It's our time. So what we've been doing is, make Monday through Sunday, we're in the gym. And during our little breaks, we'll take them to, treatment just to make sure they're good. And then after that, we're making some of those guys that's trying to reclass that have some hiccups. Every Monday, we give them a writing assignment. And on Thursday, they have to submit it. And we're checking over, we're sending the people to look over to be like, all right, let them know what's wrong. And those guys they're committed to it because, at the time, they know what it takes. And back to what I was saying earlier, life's hard. So nothing's going to get handed to you. You're not just going to walk in South Carolina, NC State and say, all right, I'm here, give me the ball, I'm ready to play. No, like you got to get there and earn that stripe and earn that, I can do it. So we're trying to get those guys ready to, all right, we got to practice at 11. We're going to go lift after that. Later on, we're going to go play pickup. So you get in that habit of, oh, this is it. Then you get in the habit of, hold on now, let's do a little work. Because, now it's summer for them. So they want to run buck wild, want to do whatever with their friends. And we're telling them, like, that's like, we're going to treat you like you're our kids. I don't know what it's like, but we're, no is no or yes is yes, and I get it. If it's my mom, I know she'll say yes or no. So that's how we're going to do it. So if it's not a time to go out and do something, we might say, no, we can't do that way. We need to try this. And it's just like your mom and dad. You want to go out with your friends, they tell you no, and you get upset. And then you're like, man, why they tell me no? Then later on, you're like, you know what? I understand why. So we're just trying to get it to where, they're thankful for who's putting food, the roof over their head, the clothes, their cell phone bill is paid, these expensive ass electronics, all of that. We're just trying to make sure that they're good to understand, like, do the little things. Because without the little, without that, it wouldn't be you. You have your own story to write. We don't want the fame for it. We want you to have your own fame, because we're gonna put it out there in front of you to make sure that it's there. But you have to keep doing what you're doing daily. So at the end of the day, when it's time later on, like Matt or myself, they might get he's the decade of the year player. So that's all we're trying to do.
Trying to show them the path and make sure that players that may have fallen through the cracks for whatever reason, make sure that they have that. It feels like you're approaching it like a family support system.
It has to be, because when you look at it differently, no matter, everybody's story is different. You don't know what they're going through. You have kids now, they some of them might struggle to eat some nights, some of them might not have a roof over their head. But everybody don't know that. It's just one of those things to where you're like, man, this can't happen. We have to figure out. So we're just trying to bring everybody together and look at each other the same, and it's working. And, all those guys, they want to bring other people. And with the COVID, we're just like, man, we got to put a hold. Like, we don't know. Like, it sucks to say, no to some people, because, this is our first time doing it. So if we ever thought, we just sit there and was like, oh, we've been doing it, it's fine. Like, we're like them. Like, they're trusting us, and we're trusting them to help us to see it as well. Because, later on, after they're graduating and stuff, we want to have the next little generation coming through like, all right, let's get it. So it's just one of those things.
That's awesome. And that's fantastic work. And it sounds like work that you love doing as well, which is always nice.
Of course.
Matt, with your work, have you surprised any parishioners who are like, oh, you play basketball? Like, maybe there's a church 5-on-5 game that broke out at the picnic, and all of a sudden you're one dribble pull up and on poor Zeke's face.
Oh, man.
His name was Zeke.
Yeah, it was Zeke. You didn't see the highlights? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there is some surprise. I'll be honest with you. When people hear that I played professional and college basketball, when they look at me, they're surprised in general. John said that. I mean, when I came in, at Asheville, like, hold on, 6'1". I mean, hold on, scrawny, white, white kid. What is this guy doing out here? I mean, it's like, hold on. And so, for me, I tell them, and they don't believe me. And I play in some leagues. We got a group of guys that play in some leagues around here. And some of my kids, some of my students will come and watch, and they're like, oh, I was going to challenge you to one-on-one, but then I watched you play. And I was like, I can play. I can still play. It is true. So no, I mean, they do hear that. A lot will ask me, like, why in the world did you leave playing basketball? And I know I mentioned that. It's just kind of what the Lord had for me at that time. But But yeah, so I definitely still play. If my kids wanted in one-on-one, then I let them know what's up. When I was coaching, all my guys wanted to play me. There was one day I came to practice and I wasn't able to get changed. I had my Sperry's on with my blue jeans and a shirt just like this, and put them to task one by one in line. They lined up and everybody got it for about 30 or 45 minutes. So
Handing them
they're
out.
like, okay, fine, we believe you. Fine, we believe you. So yeah.
That's awesome. Hey, Ahmad, I'm going to make you a bet. I'll bet I can definitely make John say he traveled. I'm pretty sure I can make Matt say he traveled. Hey, John, Matt, you might have been there. Do you remember that time that Tyler Hansborough went down the lane?
He did.
traveled.
Just
Yeah.
dunked
He did
all
travel
over.
on Kenny George. He did travel.
Yeah.
He traveled.
You talking about that 7-step travel?
He
That
did.
was longer than the NBA. I mean, the NBA would have called that.
Yeah.
NBA
Just
was
because.
Like, it was disrespectful that ESPN was even celebrating the fact that it happened. And I'm like, Kenny's over here looking at steps and stops because I know Kenny can block that.
Yes.
Easy.
yeah.
Yes.
Like Tyler Hansborough did a minimum wage gather and barely got his wrist over the rim. That's not enough. Kenny gets his wrist over the rim standing straight up. So Kenny decides to jump over a bookshelf or over just one little thick book. He's at the top of the square. So there is no way that Tyler Hansborough is actually going to dunk on Kenny, even if he gets a step. Believe me, I tried and I jumped way higher than Tyler. So I'm just saying, I could travel, I could run as fast as I can and take 20 steps and dunk on Kenny, but I can't do it if I'm just dribble driving and playing basketball. And ESPN celebrated an illegal move.
Hey, and still celebrates it, to be honest. They still will show it.
They will.
They'll still show it.
Yeah, they will.
It's disrespectful.
Yeah.
Disrespectful.
He gathered 3 times.
Maybe my new favorite phrase, and one that I promise, I swear to everything, if there is a basketball season to be had, I will use at least once a game, is a minimum wage gather.
Hopefully,
I know exactly what you're talking about, Billy.
Hopefully, they will have a season. I can come down and be a third person to do the game.
I'll slide out occasionally, man. I'll just sit and watch a little bit and listen to y'all two, or maybe we get Brian to wire up a third headset.
Sure, John would love me there.
Matt, have you ever thought about broadcasting?
Me?
Yeah, why not?
No, honestly, I would love to do something like that. I broadcast every game that I watch at home with my wife. She probably doesn't care for it, but no, I mean, I've really thought about it. I've just never gotten into it, but I've always wanted to do something like that. So, hey, if there's ever a game you want me to come up and maybe come up the headset, I would not mind that at all.
I'm telling you, I'll slide out because I have too much fun listening to John. John's way of, first off, John breaks down the action better to in a way that if you're a casual fan, if you're just watching because you like the Bulldogs, he's going to tell you how that defense runs, and you're going to understand it well enough that if you see a steal, you'll be like, oh, it's because of this. And John does that so well, it's unbelievable. Most of the time, I say the name's right. One of us is expendable, and it's not him.
I'll tell you this: what I love listening when I'm listening to the games and John's calling is that John's terminology. Some of, like, for instance, minimum wage. That's something from back when we were in college that we used to say all the time. We had multiple guys on our team that had minimum wage bounce, and we know exactly what that means. It means you can barely, like, you're pinching it up over the rim, barely dunking it.
Looks like it hurt.
I love the terminology that he uses because I'm like, oh yeah, that's something we used to talk about. We used to say all the time back when, you know.
Yeah, most of my stuff is from us having conversations casually in the locker room, and it just translates to my day-to-day talk. I mean, to be honest with you, so I don't change anything for anyone. And then, like, from time to time, like we would use Lil Wayne lyrics for everything. You know what I mean? And so we would, from time to time, it might just jump in there. my error might jump in. So I have no clue what I'm gonna say. I just have an idea based on what I see and based on like how we used to talk back in our day. And most people can still understand what's going on when I say it. So that's always nice. But man, I'd love to have you guys on, man, and just chop it up and talk basketball. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Ahmad, what are your thoughts on Coach Morrell?
I love him. We have a great relationship. The first day, it's like he came looking for me, once he got the job. And, he sat me down and was like, what do I have to do? And I was like, to be honest, I said, if I was the coach, what I would do is go find a Kevin Vanetta. I said, regardless, I said, you can say, because I would tell him, I said, dude, finding somebody like me, you're not going to find. I said, I'm just going to be honest. I said, I'm in my own little category. Not to be cocky. I was just like, just some stuff. I said, you're not going to find somebody just coming from a 2-3 to just say, all right, we're just going to put you at the 4. You're going to guard that. Not a lot of young guys are going to accept that. They're going to be like, man, I'm transferring. I don't want to do it. It's not me. And I was just like, if you can find somebody like that, that's perfect. I said, but you need to find somebody that's going to hold everybody, excuse my mouth, Matt, but by their balls. And you need to make sure, like, when you have that, that everything is great. And you need a Kevin Vanetta. I said, because once you have that, everything else is going to happen itself. I said, he's going to give you off and on the court stuff, and you ain't going to have no choice but to follow what he does. If not, then you understand, like, you're not for our program.
You think he has one of those now?
He does. He does. And he has a few. He has the guys that he has now, Devon, Trenton, LeVar, Cody, all those group of guys that he has right now, they're going to be special, and what he has coming in, the kid from Shawan, I'm telling you, it's going to be fun, especially because Cody don't have to bang a lot now. You have a stretch four that's going to be able to, yes, you're going to have a guy that's a stretch four, don't have to really worry about getting in foul trouble, or you don't have to really worry about banging to get them tired to shoot. You're gonna have some dudes now. You got Silas Mason who's a little baby John Williams now jumping, and it's gonna be fun to watch him, and just to see, if the season happens, just to see how those guys commit to everything and to battle. You have LJ who stepped up a lot, Tejon. You have guys there that that some games have led them, and then you have some young guys and transfers that's like, oh man, we got something going. So like I tell them, like, just trust what you have going. Like, you went from here and you're slowly going. It's just it's just not going to happen in that fast. You get here and you lose Maceo, John, and just guys that have already been in there that took off. Now he has to start all the way over. So I'm just saying, that's. It's great. We're not sitting there saying, Morrell, you can do better. We get it. My freshman year, I thought like, oh man, we have Andrew Rousey, we're good. But in reality, it's just not that. You got to make sure, like, you have everything from bottom to the top that's everybody's committed to, like, this is what we're going to do. We used to have a saying, we're going to protect our White House. That was the basket. So, when every 5 guys are committed, and what made it separate is because not all 5 guys can guard and can do everything. So, we knew from that point, like, this guy might not be able to guard this guy the best, but we got to be able to be on the string to help each other. So we got to going to understand, like, oh man, we might got some going. It made everything a lot easier. Now that guy that might not can guard that possession, he's down here taking a charge, and now you're like, oh yeah, this is it. This is fun. So when you're having fun and flying around and you get them in the left side instead of the right side, you're high-fiving, you're going to have fun.
Matt, they're one of the most improved teams in the past year from 2 years ago to last year. What do you expect out of them this coming year?
I think Ahmad talked about it. I mean, I think that they are going to continue to improve. I think Coach Morrell's done a great job of kind of building from ground zero, because, I mean, when Coach McDevitt took the job, I mean, there were multiple guys that transferred out. And so it was kind of starting, he was having to start with a whole new crew. And I agree 100%. Guys like Ahmad, guys like John Williams are hard to find, and honestly are steals from bigger schools that are as highway robbery, from a bigger school, and getting to keep them both for 4 years. Those guys are hard to get. When you get them, if you can build around them guys like Venata, to build that base, then you got a group that can really do something special. And that's what Coach McDevitt was able to do with Ahmad and those guys, and with his groups even after that with Maceo and some of the players he had there. I mean, Maceo's at Baylor and is an incredible player. Again, that's a steal. I mean, for a mid-major school. And so, but he had 2 or 3 of those guys. And so he was prepared to really do something that next couple of years, really, really special. But Coach Morrell's come in. I think he's done a great job. He did the same thing with me, Ahmad. I mean, he reached out to me, and built a relationship really quick. And I was really excited about that, because my fear when Coach B, because I was there, played for Coach B all 4 years. And then when Coach McDevitt got the job, I was like, yes, somebody I know, somebody, obviously Coach McDevitt was there all 4 years with me too. Somebody I know is still there. And then somebody new got the job, and I was like, oh crud, I hope I don't lose contact with the program. I feel like that would be kind of easy once a new coach comes in, if he just kind of says, all right, done with the old, let's push to the new. But no, he's reached out and he said, what are some things y'all did? What was the mindset? What was the, what did y'all do to be so successful? And so being able to share that with him at UNC Asheville to continue the success of the program, which I think it'll get back to that, it is special. And I think he's going to do some special stuff there at the old alma mater. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he does over the next couple of years.
And it's great to hear him, though, because, you sometimes when you're watching the game and you might text him after, usually some coaches might just, not even respond, or might just be like, okay, yeah, sure. You might not, you haven't been in my shoes. Like, and there's been times where, I might think something should have happened, or tell a guy this, and he's texting me like, dude, I was thinking the same, I just stick with this. You can tell, when things bother you, because, in a way he's coming from a winning place at VCU. Right. Then he goes to Texas, and then he comes here. But, he's used to, having that coming into the SIG and like looking around like, oh yeah, we want it. It's a sold out crowd. So he's used to, listening to what happened, before I got there, and then what happened when I were there. And it was just like, dude, don't worry about that. Like, this is you. However you want this train to run, you run it. But, we're here behind you. We're not looking bad at you. We understand it takes time. And what he has right now are those guys that's 110% committed to what he's doing, and they're finally getting it.
Yeah.
John, you're sitting right next to your brothers here. Honored in the conference all-decade team. And to have the new coach, Morrell, reach out. I know he reached out to you as well, John. And he's actually had you into the locker rooms and some meetings to try to is that trying to continue sort of like to build a culture around what the Bulldog greats of the past did? Or what do you think Mike's purpose was, is making sure that the alumni were heard?
Well, I feel that he wanted to make sure that there was always a welcome to anybody that was involved with the progress that UNC Asheville men's basketball has made. And so he's not there without the guys before us and before them. And so for him, he understands that, and like Matt Dickey was saying, you don't know what you're going to get with this new coach. It's going to, do alumni outreach. It's going to try to learn, or is he going to do it his way? And one cool thing about Mike Morrell is he's adaptable. He wants to learn. He wants to understand the culture that was created here for the alum. The legacy that we created. With the winning culture, and how to continue that, but also to make it its own. And so for him, I think it was, yes, he wanted us to see what he was doing, but also wanted us to understand, you know, that we mean something to the program, and that he wants us to buy in, just like we bought in back then, to this new wave that he's got going on with this new group.
And I think for the fans, it's got to be encouraging when three of the best players that ever did it for the Bulldogs are in agreement and in unison, both about the coach and the direction of the program. That's got to make the fans feel good about the way things are going. For the Bulldogs, on this Thursday 30, I want to say big thank you to all-decade team honorees, Ahmad, Thomas, Matt, Dickey. This Thursday 30 has been brought to you by Ingles. Low prices, love the savings. Matt, Ahmad, maybe when they have the all-century team, we can do this again.
Nah, maybe hopefully the next time we be doing this is when Matt get into that Hall of Fame.
Hey, I'm about to say, I'm sure John. That's got to be coming soon for John.
It got to be coming soon for one of you. I'm sure. JP, Matt, John. I'm sure you know they got something ahead for you guys. I'm just gonna sit back and just clap my hands when it happens, because I mean you guys deserve it.
John's on the ballot next year. I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
Oh well, hey, there you go. He didn't want to smile. Oh, he didn't want to smile.
I smile right away. That'd be a dream come true for me, especially, you know, what the school and what the team and what it meant for me to be able to continue to have relationships with my brothers now, and, you know, to still, like, walk on that campus and see all the change and progression that's happened with it. It'd be a dream come true. But, you know, I'm definitely going to support one of my teammates who just got put on the ballot, KJ Garland.
Yeah, KJ did.
KJ was a big mentor to me, kicked my tail my freshman year, my redshirt year, and really showed me, you know, what was needed and necessary to carry that torch. And he was a part of one of the better teams, I'd say one of the best teams in UNC Asheville history. I mean, obviously, I think that my junior year or my senior year team could compete with just about anybody too. And we've had this argument.
Hey.
Let me say this. Y'all team was good. I loved them. I still watch it on Synergy. You kid you not. You know, just to have, because you know, I'm sure we all off this too long or whatever, but to have, I never knew when people would say JP and Matt was such competitor. I never knew until JP Perrin walked into our camp. And you would have thought that he'd known me for all his life. He grabbed me. He said, "Let's go." So where we going? He said, "It's time to work." We got camp. You know, that's my excuse. We got camp. It's fine. We're fine. I don't know, you know, what he had told Nick at the time. And so me and JP, he stayed with me in my dorm. I was in Overlook. I remember he stayed. We had a 5-person suite. He stayed in there. Gave him the key and everything. Like, here you go. Whatever you want to do. Like, it's just us in here. He would come in, we would go out, eat, do whatever. Go to the casino, come back. We're coming back, I'm like, dude, we got camp in like 4 or 5 hours. It didn't matter. When that 4:30, 5 o'clock alarm came, let's go. We was at the gym. Again, working out. After that, we were just like, man, like, we got camp. We're doing camp. Right after camp, it was just like, you know, pickup. And I'm looking at him like, dude, are you for real? Like, are we going to take a nap? But just to see that and see, like, even what he was competing against us, and, like, he would tell me, Kevin, like, yo, y'all can be me and Matt. I'm telling you, like, this is what y'all need. Like, pick up. This is all you need. I don't care how nasty, dirty it gets. Just do it. He said, because when Nick sees that, he's going to be like, yeah, we're good. Mm-hmm. But we just got to a point, like, you know, we got to listen.
Yeah, JP was super competitive, and not just, like, you know, and it definitely, that him and Dickey really started this thing where, you know,
hey, well, I was about to tell you, Ahmad, welcome to my life for 4 years. That's what we did every
like,
day.
While y'all were in the gym, they come into the locker room later while y'all was sleeping, resting, eating breakfast. Me and Dickey was in the gym getting. And so in my mind, I'm like, well, why ain't tell me? Let's go. We're all in the gym working out. Like, it became contagious where I was like, okay, I'm not gonna let this cat beat me. So I gotta work too. And so we all started to get on that train where we were working, and then when it came to pickup, it was uberly competitive. Matt Dickey and JP, like when we played pickup, man, like if they got on the same team, you did not like them.
Oh, of course.
We were going at people's throats on the same team, and then we go at each other's throats when we're playing against each other. So you didn't want the same team in pickup though.
Yeah, that's
when they was on the same, like unless I was on it with them, I'd be fine. But
there was no way me, JP, and John were all getting on the same team and pick up. There's no way.
That's how we felt though. Like we would call it a fish. So like, depending on who you playing pickup with, we would just find a fish and pick on them. And and you knew it. You knew what was gonna happen. And the fish could do whatever he wanted to, but you knew it. Like you didn't have to get the ball right away because it got to a point like we just like we did a 3-and-out drill. I'm sure y'all did it with Nick though.
Okay.
That hated it. Like because the reason why you hated it because sometimes Nick will put you like, all right, you're the dude, so we're gonna put you around guys that might not be used to this. So sometimes you got to get them out their comfort zone, and it's making you to become a better leader. So you be stuck in there like, dude, like, are we serious? Like, just get me out. I'll run a suicide. Come on, like, just get me out of here.
Hey, John, what would Coach Carey yell every time somebody scored?
Found a fish.
Hey,
tighten it up.
Hey, he'd be yelling that, and he'd yell because you had to get 3 stops in a row where you got out. He'd yell zero, donut, 0.
And Brett Carey, I love him to death, man. I talk to him daily, and telling you, man, anybody don't believe it. He's the reason like that made me. Like everybody, I don't know why, but people never like they were afraid of Coach Carey. And it was me. I don't know, because of my personality and just who I am. Like I'm gonna speak, I'm gonna joke, I'm gonna do whatever. So, we just got that little connection, and people were just like, oh, you're butt buddies with him. Like, you're good. And I'm like, no, like, he yells at me like when it's tighten up. So it's been times to where it comes in the huddle, Nick won't say anything, and BC might come and just, literally snatch me up like, yo, tighten up. And I'm looking like, oh, it's serious.
Hey, Coach Carey come in the huddle with that red face. You better look out. He's coming.
You get that vein in his forehead right here.
Or when he put that play card to his mouth and talking to Nick and yelling, you like, oh yeah, somebody's in trouble.
Yep.
As I hate to do it, our Thursday 30 went 75 today. As it does when we're talking to 3 of the best to ever do it for the Bulldogs. I want to thank you to Ingles. Low prices, love the savings. Ingles Markets, the sponsor of the Thursday 30. Matt, Ahmad, John, gosh, it's always a pleasure. Let's get together and talk about the John Williams campaign to become a Hall of Famer. We'll do that this winter so we can get ready for the campaign next summer.
I'll settle down.
Y'all have a great day. I appreciate you joining us.